Hello and good evening. My name is Marco Ariano, and today we're going to be talking about why I think you should be making online content. What kind? It's up to you, but I'm going to show you stuff that I make so you can know that I know what I'm talking about. All right, let's get started. Right now on screen, you can see orange squares. That's called MIDI notes in a program called Ableton. When I push space on my computer, they will be playing these notes in the order that they appear, and it should sound something like this. Now that's just the melody. Let's add some chords to that. Yep. That's what the chords sound and look like. I drew these myself. All right. And then let's put the melody and the chords together and see what it sounds like. Yeah? It's coming together now. Let's add some drums for some energy. All right, so that's just a quick example of what a couple layers can do. The melody with some chords and then some drums. But what if we add a bunch of different things, a bunch of different vocal samples and some synthesizers and a couple layers of drums and some bass on top of all that together? It should sound something like this. Yeah. Beautiful. If I could say so myself, if that's okay, if not too pretentious to say, I'm gonna say it. I like it. So yeah, that is a quick introduction of something that I made, and that's what it looks like inside of a song. Most of you have probably never seen the inside of a song, so just to satiate the curiosity of y'all, and that's what I want to do, is get y'all thinking, and get you a little curious about why I think y'all should be making content. Now, why should we not just consume, Marco? Why should we make anything at all? Why not just be a part of the algorithm that feeds the others and, pass that down like some form of the human centipede, but in a digital algorithmic form? Because I think you should be able to influence others through yourself. Simply put, the purpose of making online content is not to get rich or famous. This is not an expectation I want to set upon anybody. However, I do want to mention it is possible, but is not likely nor the goal. What I believe the goal should be is finding your audience, your people, and your tribe. And number 2, to grow as a person. And 3, to get confidence through a strong sense of identity, of knowing who you are and it is what you do. I think that's really important as individuals, especially for the audience that I tend to speak to, or for this classroom. Now, let's go ahead and move on to some statistics here. Let's get the math out, okay? So how many people use social media? Right now, we're looking at around 5 billion, but it's looking to hit 6 billion by 2020 in about 2 more years, which is insane to think about, that a whole other billion people are going to be jumping online and perusing the same internet as you are. More people are joining the fray, okay? And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The reason that it's a good thing is because that means that your audience is possibly growing. There's more people to share. Even though there's already established content creators, that does not necessarily mean that you can't break into the mold, okay? Now, you do see here through, I think this is Statistica, here's what the projections are to be, 6.5 billion, and right now we're at about, let's say 5.5. Okay, that's incredible. And English is the most commonly spoken language in the world, so it's very important that the people that your audience is probably going to be learning to, or probably going to be watching when they get on, is probably going to be in English. Also, What I want to elaborate here real quick is the fact that the audience that y'all are probably going to be reaching out to is going to be people around your group, teens, early 20s, late teens, early 20s. And it's really important because your audience will grow with you. And so right now, according to a Gallup poll, it says here that the average adolescent here, a teen, spends about 50% of people that you know spends about, and I'm looking at these numbers down here, the bottom two rows, is they spend an average of 4 to 5 hours a day, at least 50% of them. That's a lot of time, okay? So what if you were to take the 5 hours that you would spend just perusing on the internet to instead make something? Spend 2 hours starting to make stuff, learning to make stuff. Well, I recommend you do that. Why? Because if you're already in this class, you have already given a speech at some point during this year. This means that you've already have a script that you can base your video off of, and all that's left, logically, is to record and share your thoughts online through whatever platform you want to choose. So you're already 90% of the way there, and most of y'all have a camera and have internet access, so what's really stopping you? It's you. Now, why do I think that you should make content? Well, personally, I grew up with the internet. I'm 31 years old, okay? In the world of living, that's pretty ancient. I've been around here for far too long. And I grew up with the internet, as in we grew up together, okay? When I was in a diaper, so was the internet. I got to see the rise of Facebook, MySpace, the birth of Snapchat, Instagram, all that good stuff. I still remember when people were leaving MySpace to go to Facebook. That was a cool new thing, and I was one of the last people to adopt that. RuneScape, one of the first popular online games that came out around the same time as World of Warcraft. It was just the coolest thing to come home and play online. Now it's a normal thing. Everybody goes home and plays Fortnite or Genshin Impact or something that you play online with other people. That's just how it is nowadays. It wasn't like that. With the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox and the GameCube, just wasn't happening. Back in the day, in Spotify days, you couldn't sign up for Spotify. It was a European thing only. I still remember that. I had to steal my music or buy it. Now, imagine what it would look like, my life would look like. I wouldn't be in this room right now, probably. I wouldn't be in this house. I don't even know if I'd be in this classroom. I hope I would be. But imagine what my life would have looked like if I would have been consistent with my music production, okay? For the last 7 years, I really wasn't all that consistent. And that is really unfortunate that I didn't do that. But I don't have to imagine, because I know a guy who I met around the same time I started making music, who was already doing music, and he did it every single day. I took a break from the internet, came back one day, only to find out that this dude, he blew up. He was playing with some of my favorite bands, and that's him. He is the discussion. He is the prime example of why I think you should make content. He now has 1.2 million followers on Instagram. That's insane. That's insane. When I found him, he had 5,000. That's it, 5,000. And on TikTok, he's got 3.4 million, which, I mean, I'm not saying followers is everything, but it's a pretty good indicator of how successful you have been or are going to be. And just a quick flex, he still follows me on Instagram to this day. That's me, Prometheus, Marco Polo. So I sent him an email in hopes of an interview, and that's the questions I sent to him. Sorry, my kitty cat's getting on my lap. And I do want to go ahead and just hide my face real quick so you can see, if you want to pause this video and read what I said to him in terms of my presentation and its questions associated to the presentation. Now, here's his responses, and I just want to highlight the summary that he gave me here, is that, in summary, I think it's important to figure out what your goal is and work at it consistently over time, regardless of what the outcome is, which is what I was saying earlier. And the bonus question was, if you could send a message to your younger self at 18, what would you tell yourself? And he says, don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. I used to think drugs were a means of helping my creativity, but it was actually a crutch and limiting my potential. I've been clean for 8 years now, and I can say creativity is now limitless because I've been able to access my natural creative energy. So I want to go ahead and just pass that message on. I don't want to sound like the corny old guy, but I also should recommend that you guys don't do drugs. So closing thoughts here is creation gives you meaning, identity, and opportunity. Content creation is a civic act, in my opinion. This is because it adds voices to the public sphere instead of simply letting culture be shaped by other voices. It should be shaped by yourself as well. You should have your finger on the, what is it called, the just the culture. Just have your finger, your input influence the culture. And other than just corporations, influencers themselves, you should have a voice that should be listened to and opinionated. Okay. And I wanna see if I can get this video playing by this guy named Annie Austin. He made a YouTube video on a video game called Cyberpunk and what it was like to pretend having a job there.
In a piece of art, but for me, I think my main takeaway is something I've always said on this channel. If you want to get more out of something, put more into something. This goes for games, it goes for movies and other forms of art, but it also goes for your relationships, your health, and your life overall. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's incredibly tiring and frustrating and annoying and dumb and long and arduous, but those feelings aren't actually that big when you're walking around a restaurant earnestly saying goodbye to a whole bunch of background lines of code that look and act like really weird human beings.
So yeah, I just wanted to say, put in work into everything that you do, please. It's going to help you and anyone else who consumes the content that you create. And my closing thoughts for today is going to be, every single day you wake up and make a choice. What will tomorrow's choice be? I hope it's the right one. Thank you for listening. Here's my works cited. And here's the QR code if you want to read the entire interview. Thanks again. Have a good night. Much love.